Hello everyone, my name is Johnnie Alexander. I'm an inspirational author and I want to thank Suzanne for having me here today to talk about my latest release, the third novel in the Misty Willow series, What Hope Remembers. I'm here today to answer a few questions about this story. This is the third book in the Misty Willow series. When I first started writing the series, I expected to write just one book, and it was about a house that I lived in as a teenager. And my love for that house inspired me to write a story about a character who loved the house just as much as I did and would do just about anything to get it back again. But as the series evolved, it became more about a different family. It's about AJ and his cousins, Brett and Amy, who all lost their parents in a tragic plane accident when they were teenagers. This, the third novel, is Amy's story. In the summers, my family and I would sometimes go to this little place we called the cottage. It was hidden away behind thick hedges so that if you did not know it was there, you wouldn't know it was there. And in this third story, it's where Amy lives. It's where she goes to sort of recover from the things that have been a hardship for her and that she's struggling with, and to kind of make a new start. Well, of course I love Amy, though I will confess I did not love Amy at first. In fact, I never intended to write Amy's story. I talk about that in the acknowledgments, in fact. I'm going to say, though, that Gabe is probably my favorite character in the book. He's the hero. He also has had a past that's a little sketchy. He was put into prison because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He had been a Marine until then. And so he just has all these wonderful, heroic qualities. He's competent. He's loyal. In fact, his character was inspired by the country and western song by Dierks Bentley, I Hold On, and I just sort of I played that quite a bit even as I was writing Gabe's character, and then would let the country western station just kind of go because that's who Gabe was. It's probably the hardest story I've ever written. Part of that was just because the deadline kind of snuck up on me. There had been the holidays, which were a lot of fun, but I didn't get too much writing done during that time. And then I had, sadly, a death in the family, and that really was kind of a hard thing to get through, too. Also, the characters. Amy's character needed, I just needed some help with her more than I had with my other heroines. She had an eating disorder, and so I wanted to, make sure I got the details of that right. So I had talked to somebody about that and about how that would affect who she is. Just from a technical standpoint, was the scene where the protagonists, Amy and Gabe, confront the antagonists of the story. That just took a few revisions, and it was just hard just to make it come together and kind of resolve the story in a good and positive way. The scene that was so hard to write was the one that we went back and forth on and wanted to make sure it was as best as we could make it. Finally, what I decided to do just to make that all work was completely change the age of one of the antagonists, made him a different person, a different character. He kept the same name, but he ended up being a totally different character than he was when I first submitted the manuscript. That is such a great question because it's not the easiest thing to do. When I was developing Gabe as a character, I talked to someone who's a writer and in law enforcement, so he was able to give me some ideas. This has been so much fun. I've loved sharing a little bit about my story, What Hope Remembers, the third book in the Misty Willow series. Thanks, Suzanne, for having me. I invite everybody to join me on my website, johnnie-alexander.com. Also, please hop over to my Pinterest board We have wardrobes for each of the heroines. These are three very different women. They each have their own style, and we'd love to have you see their closets. Thanks again. Bye-bye.